So I'm Josh. I work with Power to Change in Perth on campuses, uni campuses. Yeah, I was part of a Power to Change summer project in the northern beaches of Sydney, helping lead that, and I was really excited about what God did through some of the students on that project. So one of our goals with Summer Project is to train students in how to share their faith with anybody and everybody, and this is a really great example of how God really worked through that training and was able to use them to share the gospel with others. So one of the nights, Andrew Bryan asked us all to pray that somebody would come to Christ that night. And that was an exciting prayer, and I felt convicted to pray that. And so I decided I would pray that throughout the night, that somebody would come to Christ through our conversations that we were having with them. So as we went out, we found out that it was a fairly quiet night. There wasn't many people in the pubs that we were trying to reach people in. And so the first pub we went to, we found that although we started a couple of conversations, they weren't going anywhere. And so I felt a little bit discouraged, but I kept praying. We moved on about 20 minutes drive away to another area where there's some pubs. And yeah, it was exciting because in those pubs there was some opportunities, but those opportunities were already being filled by our team that had gone to those originally. So we didn't really have a place there. There wasn't really an opportunity there either. We called it the night, but one of the pairs that was in our car was in the middle of this conversation with a guy called Jack. And Jack, it seemed like he wasn't super interested in spiritual things, but he brought up this documentary that he'd watched about science versus faith. So that was an in for our team. So then the two students were able to jump into a spiritual conversation with him. And Jack had this list that he opened up about, this list of all of the sins that he had in his phone. He'd recorded all of the sins that he'd committed against God. So he had this immense level of guilt there. Our students really struggled with that. That was like, you don't need to feel this guilty. There's this hope for you. So they were able to share the gospel with him and share the hope that he had, that he wasn't guilty anymore because Jesus had forgiven him. And he prayed to receive Christ that night. And we were able to connect him into a local church that was really able to follow up with him quite well. And he was able to meet up with the pastor, with another guy at the church, and really start a healthy relationship with God. And it was really exciting when they came back to us and shared the story with us. God had really answered our prayer that someone would come to Christ that night.